Hello. I'm Andy and I'm here at Greenbelt Station at the northern terminus of the DC Metro's Green Line. Today we're going to be riding all the way to the other end at Branch Avenue, looking at some of the hidden stories, secrets, and facts that you may not know about concerning the DC Metro's Green Line. So join me, ride with me, and let's begin this journey. Welcome to Secrets of the Green Line. The Green Line begins at Greenbelt Station in Prince George's County, Maryland, and stretches south through downtown Washington, D.C., sharing tracks with the Yellow Line from Mount Vernon Square to L'Enfant Plaza. It then crosses under the Anacostia River and through southeast Washington, D.C., before ending at Branch Avenue, back in Prince George's County. We begin our Green Line journey at Greenbelt. Once inside, you'll find a tunnel leading to the station's connection to the Camden Line, whose platforms were unfortunately closed when we visited, as this commuter rail line only runs on weekdays. The westbound platform is actually accessible regardless of the time of day or the time of the week. The tunnel, however, also leads to the smaller, quieter metro entrance at Greenbelt that connects to a pedestrian pathway leading to the Hollywood neighborhood. But there are more great secrets waiting just down the line, so let's hop on the Green Line and continue our journey. South of Greenbelt is a large man-made lake visible from the train, Lake Artemisia. The lake was expanded upon in the late 1980s when the soil and gravel dug up for the lake's expansion was used to build the base of the Green Line embankment. In fact, during this construction period, the lake was actually labeled as Lake Metro. And immediately south of Lake Artemisia, you'll pass by the College Park Airport, the oldest continuously operating airport in the entire world. Arriving at the College Park University of Maryland station, this stop features a sunken mezzanine and tunnel that connects to both the east and west entrances. At the west entrance, you'll find a far more rudimentary Camden Line station compared to its Greenbelt counterpart to the north. While this commuter rail station is easily accessible from the west, the east side access to the platforms uses a tunnel under the metro tracks that has probably seen better days, although one could always use the more well-kept but more indirect tunnel that's part of the metro station. Now it's time to admire the architecture at our next station, Hyattsville Crossing, known until 2022 as Prince George's Plaza. The unique landscape terraces and the parking garage hovering 5 stories above the platforms makes Hyattsville Crossing one of the most distinct stations in the entire metro system. Next up is West Hyattsville, unique because of its side platform elevated station layout, one of only 2 in the system. Exit the station and turn left towards the pedestrian underpass and you'll find Watershed Moment, a community-painted mural designed by Scooter Gold and Iman Abdul Ali in 2022. Our next secret doesn't involve a station, but is actually hidden between West Hyattsville and Fort Totten. In 1993, the section of the Green Line between Greenbelt and Fort Totten had opened, but the section between Fort Totten and U Street had not yet been finished. To allow Green Line riders a one-seat ride to downtown DC, Metro introduced the Green Line commuter shortcut in 1997. During rush hours, Green Line trains from Greenbelt would use a single-track tunnel that connected the Green and Red Lines and travel down the Red Line all the way to Farragut North. Though the commuter shortcut ended in 1999 when the section between Fort Totten and U Street opened, that track remains today. Although this link is difficult to see in the tunnel between West Hyattsville and Fort Totten, you can more easily see this special track by riding a Glenmont-bound Red Line train and looking to the left as you approach Fort Totten. That tunnel leads to the Green Line. And speaking of Fort Totten, the Green Line platform here is very unique, as it's partially open to the air and partially underground. There is a transfer here available to the Red Line, which we've already covered in our Secrets of the Red Line video. Heading into the Green Line's underground section, we arrive at Georgia Avenue-Petworth, home to the fantastic 2002 pieces Homage to Community 1 by Andrew Reed and Homage to Community 2 by Carlos Alves. Homage to Community 1 is a 130-foot-long mural depicting the history of the area. Homage to Community 2 is a vibrant frieze of clay and cracked tiles that reference the spirit and promise of the local community. There is even more artwork to be found at this station. Above ground and by the station's eastern entrance, you'll find the sculpture New Leaf by Lisa Shear, which contains a poem by E. Ethelbert Miller, the same author of the poem We Embrace, found just outside of the DuPont Circle station on the Red Line. Now, let's head south on New Hampshire Avenue for one of the DC Metro's best secrets.
So we're here on New Hampshire Avenue, just south of the Georgia Avenue-Petworth station, in front of what appears to be a firehouse. Well, you might be wondering, why are we looking at a fire station if this is secrets of the Metro? The reason is that there's more to this firehouse than what it seems.
The facade belonged to the old Engine Company No. 24, the first fully motorized fire station in the District of Columbia. It was opened in 1911, actually across the street from where the facade sits today, closer to the original Georgia Avenue-Petworth station entrance. Now again, you might be wondering, why are we talking about this in a Secrets of the Metro video?
And that's because this fire station holds a huge secret, and that is, it is no longer a fire station at all. It actually conceals the Metro station's chiller plant, or what keeps the air conditioning running in the Georgia Avenue-Petworth station. And so, back when the Metro was being built here, the facade, well, the building was moved, and the facade was taken from that and applied to the chiller plant to both disguise the chiller plant as well as preserve a historic DC landmark.
Metro systems around the world have done similar things to disguise their infrastructure from New York City to London, but it's cool to have DC's own version of this right off the Green Line. We head back on the train to admire more great art at our next two stations. At Columbia Heights, you'll find Sankofa 1 and 2, a 2002 series of 23 stained glass panels by Akili Ron Anderson, depicting Sankofa birds set in the background of kente cloth-inspired designs, which you can find at the station's surface entrances. Columbia Heights is also home to Woven Identities, a 1999 installation by Megan Walsh and youth from the Casa del Pueblo Community Center, featuring the faces of various community members. And at the station's west entrance, you'll find a lovely planter box mural created by Luther Wright that you can find just outside. And at the U Street African American Civil War Memorial Cardozo station, on the 13th and U Street mezzanine, you'll find Community Rhythms by Alfred J. Smith and Howard University art students. This incredible mural, created in 1994, depicts various artists and dancers playing instruments from around the world, and also pays homage to the area's rich musical history as DC's Black Broadway, with jazz greats such as Duke Ellington, who actually grew up 2 blocks away, Miles Davis, Ella Fitzgerald, and Nat King Cole performing in nearby venues. Also right across the street from this entrance, you'll find another DC landmark, Ben's Chili Bowl, famous for serving half-smokes since 1958. This world-famous restaurant faced significant disruption to its operations during the construction of the Green Line in the late 1980s, but was able to make ends meet by feeding Metro construction workers. And on a more somber note, you'll also find outside the 13th and U Street entrance a plaque memorializing Marlon Francisco Morales, a Metro Transit police officer who was mortally wounded while on duty at this station. The other entrance to this station is at 10th and U Street. This entrance is oriented to lead directly to the African American Civil War Memorial, which was dedicated in 1998. At Shaw Howard University Station, you'll find a piece of abandoned infrastructure on the mezzanine that, although also found at other stations in the system, we thought we'd talk about right now. That is, the old phone booths. Come right before fare gates and you'll find the phone booths practically intact with instructions on how to use them, but no phones in sight. At Mount Vernon Square, our next station, one will then notice that this station uses a different underground architectural style than the stations to its north or south, using the Arc 2 design, more similar to Columbia Heights and Georgia Avenue-Petworth, despite both Shaw Howard University Station to the north and Gallery Place Chinatown Station to the south using waffle-style architecture. Now, why does it use this design and not the traditional waffle design of its neighbors? We actually don't know, but if you do know, feel free to drop the answer in the comments. But back to the station itself, head upstairs and you'll find a large mezzanine and extra wide escalator bank, expanded in 2003 when the Walter E. Washington Convention Center opened above the station. And just outside the station entrance, which is very clearly built into the Convention Center building, you'll find the sculpture aptly entitled Transit, installed in 2007, created by Wendy M. Ross, and completely taken over by pigeons. And one final fun fact, at this station you'll find one of the few signs in the system directing passengers to fare carts. Passing through Gallery Place, Chinatown, already covered in our Red Line video, we head south to Archives Navy Memorial. This station has an easily missed piece of artwork, 1995's Ocean Piece by Jorge Martin, which was actually a gift from the Lisbon Metro transit system in Portugal. The piece incorporates two poems, one by Portuguese poet Fernando Pessoa and one by American poet Walt Whitman, whose work can also be found at DuPont Circle Station on the Red Line. And just like we found at a few of the Blue Line stations, come to the southern end of the Archives platform to find a knockout panel, a provision for a second station entrance closer to the National Mall. Traveling under the National Mall, we arrive at L'Enfant Plaza, the transfer point to the blue, orange, and silver lines. Now, we've already covered a lot about L'Enfant Plaza in our Secrets of the Blue Line video, but the station with the most lines passing through it has yet more secrets. First, the green and yellow line platforms on the upper level are extra wide, noticeably wider than the upper level red line platforms at similar transfer stations at Metro Center and Gallery Place, Chinatown. And perhaps the most interesting secret about L'Enfant Plaza is about its past.
So the green line and yellow line platforms behind me actually were a ghost station for several years when they opened here at L'Enfant Plaza.
This is because the blue line and orange line opened on the lower level in 1977 and 1978 respectively, but yellow line service, and then eventually green line service, between Gallery Place and National Airport was not opened until 1983, even though the green and yellow line tunnel between Gallery Place and Waterfront had been completed. So, for a little under 6 years, the upper level sat built but unused except as a route between the north entrance and the blue and orange line platforms below. As seen here in 1978, metal barriers guarded an empty and eerie track bed. Our next station, Waterfront, was also a ghost station for the same reason. The tunnel from Gallery Place to here was completed by the mid-1970s, with the shell of the station ready by 1980. At the time, the route for the rest of the Green Line south of here was caught up in litigation, so Waterfront was temporarily mothballed and used as a storage site throughout the 1980s. The station was finally opened in 1991, along with this stretch of the Green Line. Also opened in 1991 is our next station, Navy Yard-Ballpark. Navy Yard is one of the stations in the system that has seen the most physical change. The west entrance was dramatically altered starting around 2007 to accommodate the expanded crowds expected for the opening of the new Washington Nationals baseball stadium. The fare gates were brought from the mezzanine up onto the street level, and the entrance as a whole was incorporated into a new office building that was built on top of the station. After Navy Yard, we head south under the Anacostia River and enter Anacostia, another Green Line station with very unique architecture. Because of the local water table and the various roadways above it, this station was built at a very shallow depth, so shallow that Metro's famous vaulted ceilings wouldn't work here. Instead, Anacostia has a one-of-a-kind design with multiple small vaults built perpendicular to the tracks. Also, because of its shallowness, it's the only completely underground station in the system where natural light actually reaches the platform, as seen at the escalators at either end. At the station's southern entrance, one can admire the 2004 mosaic River Spirits of the Anacostia by Martha Jackson Jarvis. And at the much less used northern entrance, you'll find a direct connection to Anacostia Park and the station's parking garage. train, we stop at Congress Heights, where, outside the station, you'll find a 2006 sculpture, East of the River Connections, by Anne Allardyce Tully. This sculpture represents a connection between the natural and built worlds, between the Anacostia River and the bus routes and metro line that service this station. Following Congress Heights, we arrive at Southern Avenue. In the staircase between the mezzanine and the platform, you'll find Coloratura by Mary Ann Mears, an aluminum and stainless steel sculpture built in 2002 by Chesapeake Bay Boat Builders. And just beyond the station, you'll find a secret not just for the Metro, but for DC as a whole. So we're now standing just beyond the walls of the Southern Avenue station, which is one of the few stations where you can actually come out and see a DC landmark right here, one of the original boundary stones. 40 originally built in the late 1700s to map out the boundaries of the District of Columbia. Only 36 remain, and one of them is right here, just outside the station. We head northeast to reach Naylor Road, a station that attracted attention before it was even opened, winning an award for its use of concrete by the Portland Cement Association. Additionally, the station is home to the 2002 sculpture Pod Trees for Naylor by Robert Cole, two stainless steel hand-forged trees flanking the station's entrance. We cross the Suitland Parkway and sensibly arrive at our next station, Suitland, where you'll find a unique pedestrian bridge connecting the station to its parking garage and the neighboring headquarters of the United States Census Bureau. And finally, we arrive at Branch Avenue, the southern terminus of the Green Line.
Doors opening on the right.
Similar to Suitland and Southern Avenue, this station features a monumental canopy and mezzanine that makes for a grand end to our Green Line journey. We've now reached Branch Avenue, the last station on the Green Line. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, and until next time, I'll see you on the Metro.